on the IT service subscription package, here we are in the 21st century. Every single business, maybe besides a couple of hobby antique shops, has a web presence. Every single business has a point of sale system. Every single business relies on internet connectivity. Most of us rely on some kind of server. So business to business, this is, if you've got the IT skills, this is a demand that is not going to go away. And from my friends, I have a friend that owns an IT business. He can't find any skilled help. So, I mean, talk about a demand for a ton of small businesses. IT services are needed everywhere. You don't have these huge competitions in most cases because they can't find anybody to do it. Everybody that knows how to do it is owning their own business.
Absolutely. And a lot of the companies that do it on a single service basis. And it's, very expensive. And it creates often large unexpected expenses for the business. So having a subscription model, you get all the benefits of stabilizing revenue, and stabilizing costs for the customer. But you also have that long-term relationship, which from an IT standpoint, you're familiar with their systems. So you're going to be more efficient every single time you service them, which will mean less time spent on your end while still reaping all the benefits of the profitability aspect. And like you said, it's really, I can't even fathom a business that doesn't need this. There's just so many different components in technological systems that are needed to support modern business that being able to have a dedicated person for it, I think, is every business's dream.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, our IT guy he built our server. Like, he ordered all the parts and put it together, literally. So he has ultimate familiarity with our specific server. And I think that's kind of the way, unless you do something really, really, really bad, you pretty much keep your same group of clients almost indefinitely, really, from my experience and from what I understand to be true from talking to these people in this industry that I know. And the service, the subscription aspect of it, I think is something that is just starting. Our business, our IT contracts, I wish they had a service subscription that I could sign up for, because my bill fluctuates wildly. If there's any kind of a glitch in the system and I need an IT guy to go out to our office, or I need him to remote in and check out something, and I require any kind of significant amount of time of his at all, I can see a $700 fluctuation in our bill, $800 sometimes. And if there was that stability, and then some months, we don't need anything. So if I could have, that, I mean, every month we need something, but some months we don't need nearly as much of that service as we do, in other challenging times, or when there's a update from Microsoft that goes sideways on our server or whatever. It seems like there's always something to do, but there's some months that are definitely more time consuming and then ultimately expensive for me, the consumer, with this. So stabilizing that expense would not only translate to more stable income and a higher probability for success on the IT services business package side, but for me, the consumer, gosh, how convenient.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing that occurs to me with this is that one of the major issues that every office, every business runs into is a technical glitch that creates downtime. Obviously, downtime is a time when you're not generating profit. And so having this subscription model where you don't just call IT when there's a disaster, but you have a working relationship, and there may be doing types of maintenance that wouldn't otherwise occur, it prevents those major outages and hopefully just produces little blips that can be easily troubleshooted. And that ultimately will translate to more profits from the customers and greater long-term relationship with the IT company providing the service.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, as a business owner, if I'm considering a service that is, let's say that I'm evaluating two different IT companies, and one of them offers me an all-you-can-eat package, and one of them offers me an hourly billed service. As an employer with employees, I can tell you which one I'm going to go with, because I know from experience that you go, gosh, do I really want to give my employees the IT guy's phone number? Because every time they call them, I'm going to get a bill, So, if I've got a guy, and I mean, obviously, you'd want to not say, hey, call him for everything, because that would be terrible business, but then they might drop your account, I suppose, could be bad. But, having that when something comes up and maybe it's just try restarting your computer. I'm not going to get a $50 bill for the IT guy telling somebody to restart their computer. That would be nice.
Absolutely. And it creates a huge opportunity for the person operating this business, because by having that subscription model and being that dedicated resource to the business, if they need computer parts, if they do need major system overhauls,
who are they
things
call?
that, yeah, exactly. And there's, margin to be had in all of that.
Sure.
Maybe it's as simple as just swapping out some office equipment, but because you're the go-to guy, maybe you're putting a little bit of a profit on obtaining those goods and installing them. I mean, so there's, I think, a lot of secondary benefits that would come from this business on top of the benefit of getting that stable income and having that long-term relationship with your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention that as your client grows, obviously their needs for the IT services, they have larger servers. I know the IT guy that I'm friends with, he sells phone services. So every time we hire a new employee and get a new phone installed, he makes a little more money. I mean, there's a lot of money to be had in auxiliary services with the IT services business package for sure. Now, you've worked under our business methodology. Tell me how our way of doing things has impacted your life.
Well, it's improved my life in many different ways. I've learned to, operate in business more efficiently, more strategically, with a greater focus on win-win outcomes, where the business is profiting, but the, clients and customers are happy. So it's been a very enriching process, and I've learned a lot from you guys. You guys have that entrepreneurial spirit that just makes for good business. And so it's been just an absolute pleasure working with you guys.
And now, what about financially? How would you say your situation is different?
Well, it's been enormously personally rewarding, financially rewarding. We've been able to do things we never imagined being able to do just a few years before. Your unique approach to business has enabled us to, be more profitable than our competitors. We've had a better work-life balance, I think, than most people who, even get close to approaching our income threshold. So I think really, as rewarding as something could be, it has been for us.
Now, do you feel like our way of doing things has profitability advantages over traditional ways of doing business?
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. I think you can, tell just by our history of growth. I think are willing to adapt our business strategies, fill any niche role that's out there, and just, capitalize on things that other businesses aren't even aware of. So, yeah, I think we, have had a much greater level of success than our competitors with more profitability and oftentimes less busy work.
Yeah, certainly. And I think too, with the startup series goes over all sorts of that kind of stuff. And just the ways that we've been luckily forced to adapt and learn how to do things with less staff and, more technology based or more efficiency based, just really picking things apart down to the typing of emails or not. Stuff like that makes a huge difference, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Breaking things down to their kind of constituent components, seeing what you absolutely have to have, what's not necessary, and then putting your energy behind what drives, maximum productivity and profitability. And I think that's where we've had a lot of our success.
Now, Justin, what would you say to someone who is thinking about buying one of these business packages, but is maybe nervous about starting a business from scratch instead of going with a more expensive traditional franchise, or maybe nervous about something else with starting a business?
Well, I would say that, now is a very good time, I think, for someone to look at starting their own business. And I think, when you're weighing these options, say in comparison to a more expensive franchise, I think the flexibility that's afforded because you still own and have control of your own business, I think
Absolutely.
that's huge. I think that's why a lot of people start a business. They don't want to have to report to someone and curtail their goal and operations based on the direction of somebody else. So I think you get all of those benefits. But I think the other thing that's, a major advantage is that it is lower cost. You're not paying a percentage of your income for an indefinite period. You just have the ability to take a proven model, to adapt it to your specific situation, to be given all the tools to implement your strategy and your goals and to achieve it. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. As an entrepreneur myself, obviously, that started several businesses, when I look back over what worked really well and what did not work really well, it's the unknowns that are waiting out there to just, grab you by the foot and trip you up. And that's really what I think makes businesses fail. I think there's probably two major things that make businesses fail. Number one is not knowing a system and process that's proven for success, which it takes a while to get there. And then number two is just these pitfalls that every single entrepreneur will face at some point in time or another. And having the startup series as a guide to continually reference back to me, makes all the difference in the world compared to somebody that does not have that resource. And business consultants are really, really, really expensive. It's a good way to, especially when you're in the startup phases, that's a good way to really drain profitability, is having to call somebody and pay them by the hour every time you have a question, rather than just referencing a resource that you've got on your computer.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're getting basically a veteran business model that works.
Yeah.
And you're able to use that from the get-go. So, I mean, it's like, taking the Microsoft model when you're starting a software company. It's as good a start as you could have.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining me here and going over these business packages. And, for you guys there thinking about this, you can submit on our website or you can give us a call at 844-500-6620 and speak with a business launching consultant. Again, that's 844-500-6620. Thanks so much.